I have to vent somewhere about the absolute unhinged messages my husband and I have been getting since we left our cult. Well, first, backstory. The guy who sent this text, he claimed to be my husband's best friend. They would literally talk on the phone for hours. This is his first message. They pretty much act like you're dead once you don't believe the same religion as them. Just wait. It gets 1,000 times worse. Here's my husband explaining that we're not dead. We still would like.
So it says, goodbye, you were my brother, you betrayed yourself, you're king and you're God. It won't be worth it. I still love you and I'll pray for you. Yeah, that is a psychotic message to send to somebody, right? Like, what? Why would you say something like that? That is bizarre. I got those messages too, though, from people in my life. You know, you shouldn't have left Jehovah behind. Now you're dead to me, all of that other stuff. I guess the dude responds, I'm not dead. I haven't changed. Does it make you feel better about yourself or give you some peace of mind to say goodbye to me? Yeah, it's like their perception of you literally changes overnight. Like, I remember when I find out, like, someone is disfellowshipped or whatever when I was inside the religion, I believed that they were physically dirty. Like, I didn't want to hug them for fear it would, like, rub off on me. I'm not joking. That's just how you view things on the inside of the religion. Anyway, continuing, it says, I haven't betrayed anyone. I'm staying true to myself, standing up for what I believe in, and I'm trying to do what's best for my family. I feel betrayed, giving so much of my life, and it's behind her, so I can't read
friends
it.
with you. We just don't believe the same thing. Some more context. My husband's sister passed away. She was only 17 in a car crash. The witnesses believe that when you die, you will be raised up from the dead into a paradise earth.
Yeah, and they use that against you to keep you stuck in the religion. Like, you can't leave because you'll never get to see your sister again or your mom or your uncle or whatever. They're gone forever unless you continue to listen to the directions of the elders. I mean, it's really depraved shit. By the way, the algorithm is hitting me hard right now, completely ignoring me. So I'd appreciate if you watched to the end of the video. Having increased watch time as a percentage and a raw number is what pushes the video further. Also, check out my books, owenmorgan.com. All right, back to the video.
If you're not in the group, you get to die forever. So with that context.
Okay, here. He continues, I feel betrayed, given so much of my life to a God and religion only to find out it's not the truth at all, but rather one big lie. I know you're smart. Do some digging into the history and truth of the organization you're a part of. Dude says, you are not staying true to yourself. You become a pink-haired wokey. What? Oh my God, that is not something I expected to see from a Jehovah's Witness. A pink-haired wokey that hangs out with blank. You hate those things and you know it. I'll tell your sister you said hi. That is some dark, fucked up shit right there, right? Jehovah's Witnesses don't get involved in politics at all. So the fact that I'm seeing the words pink-haired wokey from somebody in the religion is kind of a surprise. But they are extremely hyper-conservative. Like, they believe a lot of right-wing things. Women should be in subservience to a man and all of the other stuff that goes with it. It doesn't surprise me that they'd believe that at all. I guess it surprises me that they would be aware of those terms in the first place. But to say, I'll tell your sister you said hi, that is some dark, f***ed up shit right there. Oh my God. Wow. I can't read what it says. Wow. You truly are a representative of God's chosen people. Jesus Christ, dude.
You said hi. When I tell you how mad I was, how can you treat someone like that, especially someone that you claim to be their friend, being vile because he doesn't share your exact same thought process?
Doesn't get lower than that one.
Beliefs are very personal. I don't believe in organized religion at all. You shouldn't have to have all these rules to follow. My husband handled it so well. This is what he said.
What a loving thing to say. You truly are a representative of God's chosen people. That is a good way to kind of get to Jehovah's Witnesses. Yeah, that could in no way be interpreted as being loving at all. I'll tell your sister you said hi. That's not loving in any way. That's an insult. And I think all Jehovah's Witnesses probably see it that way.
And it's so true. There's no hate like Christian love. And I don't normally generalize like this, but it's not an isolated incident. If it was just this guy acting insane, all right. I also had messaged my friends telling them out of courtesy, like, I don't even feel like it's anyone's business what we believe. We are still the same people. We just don't want to support an organization that covers up child abuse using our donations. Their responses were all exactly the same. Don't contact me unless you're going to come back. We've been out for a year and nobody even knew.
Yeah. Same experience. Same shit. I know. Absolutely.
You didn't care then, you still hung out with us. I know there's so many people that are in this religion that they call them PMO, physically and mentally out. So they'll sit in the seats in order to not get shunned by their family, but they don't believe in it. The people we called friends really showed their true colors. We expected it, but it's still sad. You thought they cared about you, but they genuinely don't. They only care if you follow the rules.
I don't know. I think they do. I think that my mom was actually really, really hurt by the fact that I left. It was the best decision that I have ever made in my entire life, leaving the religion, and I wish that she would leave too, but I think she was very hurt by it. I do think that my mom cares. I just think that she can't separate the elders' expectations from God's expectations. She is afraid to question anything. She's afraid to look any deeper and see if the Watchtower Society might have gotten things wrong. I mean, she joined 30 years ago or something. God, how long ago did she join? No, it was longer than 30. I think she joined in 1981, 1980, 81, somewhere in that vicinity. 44 years, dude. 44 years she's been in it. At least, I think. Now, have they not made any mistakes in the past 44 years? Of course they've made mistakes. Of course they have. But she refuses to look at them. She refuses to process it, think about it, ask those questions, nothing. Because it's against the rules. So my point is that I think that these people do love others. They're just afraid to question. They believe they're doing the right thing by trying to shock you into coming back. And it does work with some people. Being a complete shithead to them does make them come crawling back because they have nothing and nobody, as was intended by the Watchtower Society.
They genuinely don't. They only care if you follow the rules. I personally couldn't serve a God that would tell you to treat people badly just because they believe differently than you. Jesus only taught love. There's nothing loving about shunning someone.
Yeah, and it's not because of what you believe either. It's not even because of what you don't believe. It's because you once believed this thing and you no longer believe this thing. Jehovah's Witnesses can at least talk to Baptists or Catholics or Methodists or whatever, so Muslims, Buddhists, but talking to people that believed Jehovah's Witnesses once and no longer do is forbidden.
There's nothing loving about saying you're going to say hi to your dead sister in paradise because you're not going to be there. That's called fear-mongering and trying to scare people back in line.
It's called emotional manipulation, and it was taught to them by the Watchtower Society, as this person certainly knows.
This just confirmed to us, yeah, we made the right decision. We don't need our kids in that environment. It's very toxic. They would always say, where are we getting our research from? The internet is free, but they're not allowed to look at any source except for their website. If you're the guy who sent my husband this text, I just want you to know that Jesus would be so proud of you and all your little cult friends for all the nasty, hurtful, vile things you guys have been saying about us. That's all. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, wow, man. That is just some sick shit right there, for real. That is just straight up vile. See what people said. Literally, they think people who left the org and die for any circumstances died because they left. A guy, yeah, this is like anti-vaxxers thinking that anyone that got vaccinated and then died because of the vaccine. This guy got in a car accident, you're going to blame it on that? Okay. A guy who never wanted to be baptized in my congregation used to attend some meetings just to make his grandparents happy. He decided to stop going to meetings and months later died in a car crash. The comments that I heard from PMEs, which is physically and mentally in, just completely brainwashed drones. The comments I hear from PMEs when we remember that case is, well, that's what happens when you leave Jehovah. You don't have his protection. Ugh, these fools are like robots, and we can't blame them because they don't even know how controlled they are. I had a stroke trying to read that, but I appreciate the sentiment. Somebody says beautiful eyes. Yeah, very striking. That's true. Pink-haired wokey, WTF? What does waking up from Watchtower have to do with American liberals? Yeah, right? I was so confused by that one. This person says, yeah, that statement is stupid. By that rule, then Jesus was a hippie who hanged with prostitutes and tax collectors. Very woke. P.S. I've seen gay and bright-haired women that are more misogynistic than most men I knew in my life. People can be complex, and sometimes stereotypes don't mean anything. That's true. What's crazy is my wife and I had this discussion. I was telling her that JW is very similar to evangelical Christians on the far right. That's why that guy made the pink-haired wokey comment. They're basically MAGA that can, thankfully for their sake and probably ours too, see through Trump's bull. That's true. That's true. Although, I don't think they're quite like far-right extremists. I think they're in their own kind of category. If a friend told me that about my sister, I'm throwing hands, it'd gaff. That is a really messed up thing to say to somebody, really. Oh my God. Tell me what you think about it in the comments. And maybe give some love to this person because this sucks. I know what this feels like. I absolutely know. And it's not fun.